All right. Welcome everyone. This is Charm City Filmmakers, the 11th wave script breakdown class, second script breakdown class. The idea here is that we're going to help you put together, we're going to go through how to generate a script breakdown list. So let me talk a little bit about what it is, what it's for, and then we'll get into the specifics. So, as I was mentioning a little bit earlier, you, as the director, are essentially not just the director, you're basically pre-production in charge of everything. Getting props, getting locations, um, getting all the logistic requirements of your film, that's going to be on you. The script breakdown has two primary functions. One primary function is to help you put together a list, a plan. Like these are the things I need to get. These are the places I need to get. It is essentially several lists that will let you know what props you have to get, what costumes you have to get, what set pieces you have to get, what locations you have to get, all the things that you have to put together to make this film work. So one of the two primary purposes of a script breakdown is to let you be able to plan out in detail exactly what you're going to need to make this film work. I will specifically say that it's not a list that's like you'll do it today and then it's over and finished. It's going to be a recurring thing. You will add more information as you go along. Like, for example, you don't know who is going to play a particular role, so you can't fill that information in yet until you've cast. This should be a living, breathing document that you not only continue to add all the way up to the day of shoot, but you might actually be referencing and modifying on the day of the shoot itself, potentially. So just be aware it's part of your process. Okay. The second primary purpose of the script breakdown is it is a communication tool. You're going to be putting together a crew of talented professionals who are going to help you make your film. They're not here to make their film; they're here to make your film. They don't want, they just need it from you. One of the most important things that you can do as director is communicate effectively your vision, your plan to your department heads, to your crew, so that they can make that come to be. And a script breakdown is a very, very, very big part of that. I did mention this briefly before, but let me go through the process. So, the way it goes for crew specifically is you will generate a script breakdown. We're going to be doing that today. At least I'm going to show you how to do it. You'll do it on your own time. Once you've got the script breakdown in a good working order, you have a pretty good idea of what your plan is. You will then meet with your production manager, who will then give you a list of volunteers for the four department heads. Four department heads. Let me remind you, you've got your director of photography, your cinematographer. Those terms are kind of interchangeable. Your cinematographer is in charge of your video department. Everything that involves the camera, the lights, etc., is under your cinematographer's purview. They're in charge of the video department. So assistant camera, grips, gaffer, all of those are going to work for your cinematographer, your video department. Your sound mixer will be in charge of your sound department. Typically, that's usually just a department of one, though sometimes you'll get like a boom operator or something like that. But sound mixer's in charge of your sound department. Your script supervisor is a department of one, the department of continuity. They're going to be pretty much the only person in charge of that, but you're definitely going to need someone for that department. And then finally, your first AD is going to be in charge of your production department. This is going to be set design, art department, second AD, PAs, runners, and basically everything else. If they're not in the video department, the sound department, or the continuity department, they're in the production department. And your first AD will be in charge of that one. So what you'll do is you'll reach out to like the five cinematographers and see if you can get one of them who'll be interested in your film. Your production managers should generally know these people, and so if you have particular questions, hey, like what's her style, what's he like on set, that kind of thing, so that you can get a good fit for you, then by all means ask those questions and get those people. I do want to remind you that this is an all volunteer army. So if a cinematographer says, I'm sorry, I can't help you, then you got to go get another one. Ideally, what you're looking for is a good fit. So your script breakdown is going to be what you're going to communicate to them. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you a critical key part here. Speaking as a potential department head myself, what we want most from our directors is just a clear plan. Coming in with like a really vague idea of what you want to do is going to be very disconcerting to your department heads. So the point is that use the script breakdown and the next few weeks to figure out exactly what your plan is. You don't have to have every single detail locked in. These are experts. You should ask for their opinions on stuff, help them put it together, help you put it together. You don't have to do it alone. You have help. But the point is that you need to be organized, you need to be structured, you need to be clear on what does and doesn't matter. And the script breakdown is a big part of that. All right. Does anyone have any questions on any of that jazz? Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through a script breakdown and I'm going to specifically use one of your scripts as an example. So can I get a volunteer, someone who'd be willing to share their script, please? If you do share your script, I'll do
I
most.
will not be a good example.
Okay. No one wants me to do their work for them? Okay, fair
I
enough.
can share my I can share mine, Wes.
Ah, there he is. Let
Do I
someone
need
else
to
do
send
my
it to
work.
you?
Just put in the chat if you could.
All right, hold up.
All right, and while he does that, I'm gonna go ahead and open up a blank document. All right. So let me go ahead and put this here. It's just easier for me to read if it's in front of me. And boom, and then share. Oh. Sorry, hold on a second. Almost forgot. File, share with others, copy link. Done. All right, and then back to. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put a link in the chat. This is to a generic template. You cannot edit it, so don't edit it. What I'm going to do, and I'll show you this. Let me go ahead and share that same exact file I just shared with you. So we got short film script breakdown. What I'm going to do, and this is the same thing I want you to do. The very first thing you do when you open this link is make your own copy. And I'm not going to do that because I don't have a script yet. Hold on, waiting on the script. Oops.
Yeah, and I'm switching. I had a hard time uploading it, so I'm switching over to my laptop so I can do it. So give me 1 second.
Well, has your script changed? Because I
No,
do
I
have a
just
copy of it.
okay. I just edited the typos I had in it, so that's all. But it's the same script.
All right, well, that's good enough. It doesn't need to be perfect.
Okay, you can use that then.
Okay. Where are you? Oh, come on. I'm not seeing it. Why am I not seeing it? Oh, I'm in the sides. I'm in sides. Come on, scripts. Okay, got it. Slow motion. All right, so let's see. Let me do this.
Yeah, mine is just all one scene, so it wouldn't give you much to work with.
That's all right. All right, let me do this.
Wes,
Yes.
do we have to use this template?
No.
Okay.
Is there something about it you don't like?
Um, the one I've used in the past is blocks. It's like large blocks, and that's just easier for me.
Okay.
But I mean, I'll see. But
I think I know the one you're talking about, D. I use that when I'm done after I sort through something like this. Then I use that
mhm,
one
You
to
talking
give
about
it
the
to
okay.
everybody else.
you
Well,
talking about the one I had
I
last
may
year?
need, yes.
Okay. No. Listen, I will say this. The reason I'm switching to this in particular, as some of you may know, we did a feature film a couple of months ago, and I generated a spreadsheet for that film that made it a lot easier for me to work because by putting it in an Excel, I'm sorry, excuse me, in a Google Sheet form, I was able to constantly shift the document so I could tell like in the moment when I had to make changes. But if you'd rather do this the long way, I mean, rather do it the old way, by all means, go for it. Whatever makes you happy, truly.
Well, I may have spoke too soon. I'll see how this goes.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so let's see. All right, so Curtis, this is your script, right? All right, here we go. So the very, very first thing you have to do with your script before you really can get into this at all is you've got to number your scenes. So for example, our first scene here is exterior. Let me just point out, let me be very clear on this for those who are not sure. A scene change is anytime the movie goes from to a different place or a different time. So if you have a bunch of people sitting in the living room having a conversation and they get up and move to the kitchen, then that kitchen is going to be a separate scene. If instead they're in the living room having a conversation and then 2 hours go by and then we're back to them in the living room having a conversation, then it's also going to be a different scene. Um, Basically, the fundamental production unit of a shoot is a given scene. We got to do this scene, then we're going to do this scene, then we're going to do this scene kind of thing. And so we're going to organize your script breakdown based on the scene. So like the call goes out, hey, we're doing scene 2 next. Then with this document in the hands of all your department heads, they know that scene 2 is in the living room. They know that scene 2 involves these particular actors, so they can assemble all the elements for that scene. And even if you have a conversation where two people are talking in a living room and they're still talking and they go into the kitchen as they're talking, it's still going to be a situation where you're going to need to set up in the living room and film them. And then you're going to do a completely different setup in the kitchen where you will then, of course, film them. So those are two distinct scenes because they're two distinct setups. Is everybody clear on that? I will say if you were using Final Draft, if you're not, it's totally cool. But if you're using Final Draft, you can get Final Draft to number your scenes for you. It'll just go through and find all the scene headers and put, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I will say that if you do something like that, and most script writing programs have some variation of it, you still want to make sure that it's right. Once you set these scenes in stone, well, stone, once you set them up here, you're going to have to, it's going to be very, very difficult to change them once it's done. So once you say this is scene 3, then this is going to be scene 3 for the rest of the film, all the way through filming and post-production. So make sure your numbering is exactly what you need. All right. With that in mind, so there are no scene numbers, but that's okay. We're going to do it anyway. So this is going to be scene 1. It is on page 1. And this is, by the way, just a reference. You know where it is. Now, the next thing is to do length. Okay. So officially, well, let me talk about length here for a second. So a couple of things about page length. Let me remind you for those who have forgotten. Ideally speaking, every single page of script should be a minute of screen time. So if you have a 9.5-page script, that should translate to 9.5 minutes of film. It's not a perfect thing, but that should be the rough idea. I will also say for Charm City in particular, we have as a general rule of thumb, we film about an hour per page. So if you have a scene that is 1.5 pages long, that's going to take you roughly an hour and a half to shoot. Obviously, some directors are faster than others. Some scenes go quicker than others. It's not a locked in stone thing, but it is a rough rule of thumb. And so as you're going through your film and you're checking off scenes, you can have a rough idea like, okay, I have 5.5 pages left. And you have a rough idea of how much that takes. One of the things I would say, referencing back to Dee's concern earlier, is the beauty of this being a living document is that as you're checking off scenes, you can manipulate, you can modify this thing so you can see that list getting shorter and shorter, and so it makes it a very effective way to figure out exactly what isn't working. I mean, sorry, excuse me, what hasn't been shot yet, what still needs to be done. Um, I will say that officially Hollywood does this in eighths. I gotta say, that just doesn't work as much for me decimal wise. So I generally cut these into quarter pages. So I round it to the nearest quarter page is the way I generally do it. All right, so let's get into this. So we start with page one.
I
This
meant,
scene,
well, like we know what a quarter page is and everything, but you kind of skipped over why the whole eighth thing is in play, so it makes sense.
you mean why is it that Hollywood uses eighths? Are you saying why is it that we use
No,
quarters?
I know why it's an eighth, but everybody may not know.
I'm not quite sure what. Make your point, please.
Says I'm just saying since we're doing the whole script breakdown and you mentioned the the Hollywood method of breaking a page down into eighths, which is what they do.
Hmm.
No one, but tell everybody why.
I I don't know why. I'm not quite sure I understand what your point is. I'm sorry.
Okay, never mind then.
Okay, okay. Um, look, I, I think what you're getting at is that the idea is that you don't want to do a whole page. You want to do fractions of a page. Um, I don't think it, like I said, I don't think you necessarily need to get down to eighths. I think getting it down to a quarter is enough, but you definitely need to understand how long a particular page is. And I, I'm not quite sure the point she was making. I'm going to move on. All right, so this length, so this scene goes all the way until, okay, so we go into the kitchen, which is essentially the top of page two. So we're gonna go with that's a page length of one. Uh, okay, this is in the bedroom. Now, location. You may not know the location. Curtis, do you have a particular location in mind for the for where you're gonna shoot
Well,
this?
yeah. So I was kind of playing around with the idea, maybe doing it in like an Airbnb or a hotel room, and then maybe for some of the other scenes, maybe trying to recreate something at the studio.
Okay.
So,
All right.
you know,
You listen, if you have a location in mind, you definitely want to put it here. If you don't, then again, you can save that information for later. So I
yeah,
tell you
that's why I
what,
just kept it generic for now until I figure out specifically where. I know I wanted to be a bedroom versus bedroom, and I know I wanted to be a kitchen versus kitchen. But how I film it, it just depends on the locations I get.
okay. Um, I gotta ask, is the bedroom outside?
Outside of where?
Like outside in the sense that it has, like the birds can come in and land on your shoulder. You can smell the summer breeze. Is it
No,
outside?
oh, it's in a house, an apartment, or whatever it be. Like it's indoor. All this is indoors.
Okay, the
I
only
know
reason I
I,
ask is
I put
because you put.
exterior. Yeah, that was a typo.
Okay, just checking, just making sure. Okay, so that's
I appreciate it.
interior. Okay, and time of day is day. Um, broadly speaking, remember that light is a bit of a difficult thing. So if basically you want to just go day night. If it's incredibly important that the thing happens at dusk or dawn, then you can put that. But I just want to remind you that shooting outdoors at a particular time of day is an incredibly challenging thing because you've only got so much time before it's over, kind of thing. So broadly speaking, time of day, you want to do day night. Okay. Description. So the key to description here is you got a lot of scenes. It kind of all jumbles together. It can. So what I like to do here for the description is just put a couple of words just to kind of lock in my head what exactly this scene is about so I can just keep track of them. So in this case, um, I'm going to say Gene getting dressed. Okay, so let's talk about story day. This is primarily coming up with your continuity. The idea is it does matter if many days have passed. Like, so for example, let's say that you're having a bunch of friends hanging out in a living room or something like this, but it happens over several days. It means, broadly speaking, your characters are going to need to have different outfits. Broadly speaking, most people don't wear the same clothes every single day. They just don't. So if you do have something happening on a later day, story day, then it is important that you put the story date down so people have a rough idea. If you're going to be flashing forward or flashing back, your story date needs to reflect this. So primarily, this is for your continuity department. This is for your script supervisor, but it's also helpful to sort of keep this straight in your head so you can have, clothes and such. If your character gets wounded on a particular day, then you need to make sure that anything you film after that, in terms of story day after that, not in terms of actual filming, but anything that you film that narratively happens later, that person still has the wound. Whereas stuff that's filmed that happens narratively before that, that person doesn't have the wound, kind of thing. Regardless of when you shoot it, you need to be clear on when it's happening in universe in your movie. Is everybody clear on that? Okay, moving on. So I'm going to go ahead and put story day one here. It doesn't matter what the actual day number is, it just has to be relative. Broadly speaking, your first day, the first page will be day one. Unless you're specifically doing a flash forward or something like that, broadly speaking, it's going to be day one. Okay, so our roles, are the characters. Obviously, Gene is in this first one, and he is the only one in this one. So he will definitely get this particular role, and he goes right there for that. There are no other actors in the scene. I will say that the way I currently have this document set up, it has room for 5 roles. You can add more roles. Just let me know if you need any kind of technical support on that, but 5 should work. In terms of props, all right, so I'm going through and I will point out that Curtis has done a really good job of putting some of these props in all caps. That's very helpful. Broadly speaking, the first time you mention a character, or the first time, or anytime you mention a prop explicitly, that is something you're going to have to get. Putting it in all caps, at least the first time it's mentioned, really just sort of helps it stand out. Let me just say before I get too much into this, prop is basically going to be any physical thing that the actor will be picking up and interacting with. If it's just sitting in the background like a bed and they're not touching it, then it's going to be set dressing or furniture. I'll get into that later, I promise. But a prop is specifically something that they pick up and interact with. It is not something that just sits in the room, that's set dressing or furniture, and it is not something they're wearing, that's going to be costume or wardrobe. Okay, but we got a whole bunch of props. So let's see. I got a vinyl record. I got black dress shoes. I got a handheld steamer. Oh, I got a lot of props. Okay, so I'm going to give myself some more props.
And Wes, the vinyl record is just a sound effect.
I'm sorry?
The vinyl record is just a sound effect, the crack of a vinyl record.
Oh, so wait a second. You don't actually need the physical prop?
No.
All right, fair enough. Okay, where was I at? Dress shirt. Older shirts. Where was I at? I was at older shirts. Okay. Cufflinks, belt buckle. Okay. Insert column right. Insert column right. Okay. All right. So we've got suit, garment bag, Looks like, oh, insert column right. Insert column right. Okay, so we need at least 2 more. Props, props. All right, where was I at? Suit, garment, bag, right. Okay, matching time. Pocket square. And a bottle of cologne. Excellent. All right. Does that work? On to the next one.
Curtis, I don't know if you heard me. I just sent you a message.
All right. Scene
I look at.
2, page 2. Let's see. All right. So that goes here, office lobby. I'm going to call that, there's a bit of a jump there. I'm going to call that 1.25. All right. Back it up. Here we go. Where was I? I was here. All right. Here we go. Kitchen. We don't have a location yet. Still interior. Still day. Looks like Jean eating breakfast. All right. Story day. Still same story day. Again, it's Jean. And let's talk about props. All right. Refrigerator. I'm going to go with set decoration. I'm not going to worry about that. Here we go. Box of pizza. Uh, Container, juice, uh, glass, box of fruity pebbles, sticky note, um, another sticky note. Okay. Let's see. We've got fruit. I'm assuming the Gene slices it with a knife. Is that right, Curtis?
Yeah.
Okay. Oatmeal. I'm assuming the oatmeal goes into a bowl. All right. Oh, keep going. All right. Wall Street. Journal. All right. Excellent. Onwards. All right. Scene 3. This is on page 3. Let's see. Oh, looks like it's intensely short. So I'm going to call that a quarter page. This is office lobby. We don't have a location yet. It is still interior. It is day. Jean walking. All right, still story day 1. And Jean and Fort. Oh, got it. All right. Scene 4, still page 3. Uh, okay, there we go. Okay, so that is, I'd say the bottom third of that page, 1 2/3. Let's call that roughly a third. Okay, 1 2/3. So yeah, let's call that 2 pages. You know what? I'm gonna call that 2.25. It's just a little bit. Conference room, interior day. All right. All right. Gene interviewing job. Story day still 1. Gene Okay, so Curtis, is the idea that the interview is in the scene at all? Do you need a warm body here?
No, I'm doing it the same way I did my last room. So no, just I have to position Gene as if he's speaking to someone, but there's no one in the room.
Okay. Portfolio, documents. Okay, a CD. Okay, excellent. On to the next scene. So, scene 5. What page are we on? We're on page 5. Huh, look at that size. That's convenient. All right, bedroom. A little bit of that, a little bit of that. Let's call that 0.75. All right, bedroom. Interior. Okay, so question, Curtis, how long has it been? Is this the very next day? Has it been a week? Has it been a month, a year? How long has it been since day one?
I'll say a week.
All right. So let's call story day. Oops. Yeah, story day, we'll call that 8. All right, time of day is day. Gene getting ready. All right, Gene. Oh. No, they're voiceovers because they're not going to physically be present. Never mind. I was going to put in the voiceover things, but they're not technically in the scene. They're going to be done separately, so it's fine. All right, shoe polish, trash can, wrinkled shirt, uh, pile of shirts, pizza box, soda, sparkling water, fancy glass, Kool-Aid, powder, and then sticky notes pile. Okay, excellent. Scene 6. We are on page 6. Ooh, that's convenient. All right, conference room starts here in the middle of page 6. Oh, let me make sure conference room got it. Excellent. So this actually goes the rest of the thing. Okay. So what I have here is I have a half page, 1.5 pages, 2.5 pages. Okay, I'm going to call that 3. Let me ask you, Curtis, is this the same conference room?
This would be a different space than where he had his last interview.
All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put conference room 2, just to keep it a distinction there. Interior day. Gene getting the job because we know he's going to get the job. Good for him. It's the same story day. H. Gene. Jerry is in this. Secretary. She is technically off screen, but I see it. I mean, again, unless you do differently, I would see her physically being there so that she can say these lines off camera, kind of thing. So you still need her.
Yes, correct.
All right, let's go through this. They rock slightly in their chairs, mirrored, folds of paper into a plane. Okay. Paper plane. Calmly puts on glasses. Yeah, I'll put it there. Keeps reading. Mhm. Okay. And that is it for that. Props and done. Okay. I didn't talk about this because it didn't come up, but let me talk about this really quickly. And I don't expect this to occur for most of you, frankly, but I just want to be clear. If there is a particular makeup effect, like some sort of like, oh no, he's bleeding or whatever kind of thing, you would want to note these here. If you have any stunts, you'd want to note them as well, and any CG effects, obviously, for that as well. Now, once you've done this, right, once you've got this sort of base thing done, and this is sort of like your raw data, then what it'll do is it'll automatically populate all these other bits for you. So, for example, now you've got these roles. Now, the idea with the roles is obviously Curtis does not have actors for them yet, of course not. But as you get them, you would then fill in, oh well, Mike Thompson is going to be, Gene kind of thing. You just go ahead and type in their name once you've got it. Um, Now, in terms of each actor will have costume, wardrobe, and potentially makeup. Let me draw a clear distinction here. So, costume is going to be costume and wardrobe are basically what they're wearing, effectively. I will say that for the distinction between costume and wardrobe is whether or not the actors already have it. So, for example, in this particular case, Curtis as the actor wearing a suit. There's a really good chance, really good chance that whoever he casts as Gene will have a suit, maybe even a couple of suits. So potentially Curtis might be able to lean on that actor for some of the clothing. Obviously, whenever possible, you want the actor to bring their own clothing. You don't have to pay for it, and it's going to fit properly. So obviously, that's the preference. But I will point out to the group that Curtis had some very specific elements. The pocket square, matching tie, black dress shoes, and so it is possible that the actor in particular doesn't have those specific elements, and so that becomes costume. That becomes stuff you have to get. Um, Specifically, I want to be clear in terms of this whole process. So what you want to be doing here is designing their outfits, figuring out what you want them to wear. Oh, well, this person's in a suit and the suit should look like this. It should have these elements. Once you cast your actor, once you decided that this is the person I want to play Gene, then you're going to have to contact that actor and say, okay, this is what I want you to wear. Which of these things do you have? Which of these things do you not have? Kind of thing. In terms of the things they have, ideally what you'd like is for them to come in and wear it. Let me remind you, you've got for the actors, you've got the auditions. Then after the auditions, you're going to do a callback. That's when you ultimately decide the actors you want. After you've decided, you let them know, and you'll have them come in. First thing you do is a table read. Table read can actually be done on Zoom. It doesn't have to be done in person, though you can do it in person if you want. Um, the So you can have them done, but when they come in for that, okay, so you do the table read, and then afterwards you can have them you can have them come in for rehearsals. Either during the table read, have them, go off camera, get changed, come back and wear a particular outfit and look at it on camera, or wait until to rehearsals, have them come in. The key is you want to have the actors for wardrobe try a couple of options in front of you and see which one you like best. You know what I mean? And then in terms of costume, you want to make sure you buy that relatively early and have the actors try it on to make sure it fits. Like, don't buy them a big, nice jacket and then they doesn't fit them kind of thing. So use the table read and the rehearsals way before the shoot to test to make sure that all the costume and wardrobe is exactly what you want and fits the actor exactly the way you need to. Is everybody clear on that? Okay. In terms of makeup, again, if they have a specific makeup need, then you would list it here. I will say, broadly speaking, um, generally the male actors are not in makeup, women actors are, and frankly, as long as they have like regular makeup, broadly speaking, they can do their own makeup. That's how that works. But if you do want an actor to have a particularly special makeup effect, maybe like really glammed up, or you want the male actors to wear a particular thing or whatever, just be aware that you will need to get a makeup artist and you will need to make sure that you get them in makeup for that scene. I will say personally, makeup is a bit of a hassle and a bit of a time constraint, but if you definitely want to use it, then use it. Just be aware it has to be planned. That's all. If they have no makeup needs, then you can just leave that column blank. No big deal. So those are the actors. Now, in terms of sets, okay, so this is a population of the sets that we did before. It's got a list of everyone. Obviously, what you want to do here is ultimately, this is your list of sets you need to get. You need to find a location and put this in. Let me remind you, please, that you really do want to keep the number of locations to a minimum. So, for example, here, let's say that Curtis gets an Airbnb for the bedroom. Whoops, not me to do that. Let me put it here. Airbnb. Sorry, a little bit of technical difficulties. And that's going to be the kitchen and the bedroom. Oh, it's another bedroom, same bedroom. Okay. But then he ends up doing this. The office lobby is at the studio kind of thing. So what we've effectively done is, yes, while there are multiple locations, there is an actual fact. Oh, I'm sorry, multiple sets. There is in fact just a handful of locations. Is everybody clear on that? So this is a list of things you have to put together. Now, in terms of the sets, so there are basically two things, set dressing and furniture. So let me give you an example. So like in the kitchen scene, there was a refrigerator. Set dressing is stuff that the location does not have, and you are going to have to physically provide. Furniture is stuff that you need, but is already at the location. So if Curtis gets an Airbnb, the bedroom will have a bed, it'll have a closet, the kitchen will have a refrigerator, that kind of thing. You still need them. You still need to make sure they're there. They still need to be on your list. You still need to check to make sure the location has these things, but you are not personally responsible for bringing a refrigerator to the set. It should already happen. So, like for example, going back to the bedroom last one, so like it'll have a bed, but like you might be required to bring blankets, pillows, that kind of thing. So again, the distinction between set furniture, set dressing, and furniture is just whether or not the location already has it or not. I will say that if you are planning on shooting in the studio, please do. Very encouraged. But I want to remind you the soundstage is a blank room by its very nature. So if you're doing a bedroom scene, for example, in the studio, the soundstage, then you were going to have to provide blankets, pillows, and the bed kind of idea. Just be aware of it. By the way, when it comes to beds, just real quick, we have ways of faking most of this furniture. We can fake a bed. You just take a table and throw a blanket over it, and then some pillows, and boom, you've got a bed. So be aware that we can definitely make that work. But again, it has to be listed. You have to build a bed. You have to, if you're gonna do the kitchen scene of the studio, you've got to figure out a way to fake a refrigerator, et cetera, et cetera. Is everybody clear on that? Okay, so we've got a list of our actors and we've got a list of our sets. Okay. Now, shopping list. All right, so shopping list is just all the things that you listed. It is going to be props. Remember, you have to go get props, and so here's a list of props. The vendor thing here is just where you get it from. You don't absolutely have to fill this out, but it's just like, like, oh, I'm getting this from the thrift store, and I'm getting this from Amazon, and kind of thing. Box of pizza. I don't know. Pizza Hut, sure, why not? Let's just say, can't get enough Pizza Hut. Portfolio, you're gonna buy that on Amazon, kind of thing, or whatever. It's just an idea. It's just a way for you to keep track of where you're getting this stuff. Set dressing is essentially the exact same thing. I did list these set dressings, though I guess I could put some in here. Let me put some in here. Uh, Blanket, pillows, pillow pieces. And then that goes back to shopping, and then boom, this is on your list. And again, same thing. You can put your vendor down if you want. If not, don't worry about it. I will say something here, if I may. This is not required of you. Your job is to make a film. But if what I am hoping to get from after this shoot is I'm hoping to collect some of these script breakdowns and share them. If you don't want to, you don't have to. Don't require it. But I would love to, like, when you're finished and you're done at the end of the wave, to take some of these script breakdowns and share them with future directors, just so they know, oh, hey, wow, this person got, they got their clothes at this thrift store. I can take note of that. Or, oh, look, they got this here. Just be aware. The idea here is, if you're interested, I'd like to share at least some of these with future directors so they have just a rough idea of where they might go get stuff, where they might be able to see stuff. Take advantage of the clever decisions that you make to make their shoot a little bit easier. So part of it is that. Okay, in addition to props and set dressing, of course, then there's costumes. Let me see, going back to actors, let's say Gene, we're putting Gene in a suit kind of thing. Then you're going to make sure that not only do you need to get a suit, but it's listed next to Gene because of course it has to fit Gene. Like, you know what I mean? So the costumes are going to be connected to actors. In this particular case, you've got Gene who wears multiple costumes because we see him on more than one day. You would want to list all those multiple costumes for multiple days. So, like, let's say going back to this, let's say, suit one kind of thing. Whoops. Suit one, nope. And then suit two kind of idea. So that going back to shopping, you need to get two suits that fit Gene. Is all of that clear? Please. Now is the time for questions. That is my spiel. The spiel is over. Questions?
It looks good to me, Wes. Thank you.
What I'll be doing at the end of this weekend, which basically means later tonight, is I will send out an email that will have a copy of the recording of this. I did record it. I will post it on an unlisted channel on YouTube. I will also send you a copy of the template. Again, remember, the very first thing you want to do is save a copy of your own, because you can't edit the template. Curtis, I will send you a copy of what I just put together for you. By all means, feel like you can use it. Build on that as you see fit. You get a freebie for volunteering. And
Nice.
that's primarily it. The casting call will go out this weekend. Cast auditions will be in 2 weeks. I've already got everyone's audition dates. Everyone here is squared away for the casting call and for auditions. Does anyone have any questions? Please, this is that time.
Hey, just a question about can we bring somebody else on the auditions?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. And if we had any changes that we needed to make to the script, like adding to the script, what's the best practice to do that, or just kind of like keep
Well,
everybody in the loop kind of thing?
let me say this. Obviously, touch base with your production manager on that. Um,
Hmm.
it- the only time the script exactly matters is in terms of the sides. Well, primarily in the sides. So, like, as long as your script isn't fundamentally changing the characters or anything, your sides are still good as is. Yeah, look, I expect you, I encourage you to continue to change your script. Okay, I very firmly believe that great scripts are not written; they're polished. So you write a decent script, hopefully, and then it gets better with time. So please keep modifying it. Now, having said that, if your script radically changes or adds like 10 more pages or something crazy like that, then that needs to be addressed. But if you want to add a couple of paragraphs, you want to like maybe pare this down and pick up this. You want to fix typo mistakes. Please keep working on your script. As long as your changes, as long as the changes to your script don't make any major logistic changes, then it doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. And even once you get your actors, you can continue to make changes to your script. Just send them new copies of the script so they're up to date. If you are making major logistic changes, that's going to be a little bit different. And honestly, it kind of depends on the nature of the change. If you want to go from a 7-page script to a 57-page script, then we're going to have a little discussion about that. Okay. But like if you're going from a 7-page script to an 8-page script, you're good. You're fine. That's not a problem at all. You want to move this scene to a little bit earlier. You want to add more dressing to your kitchen. All good. Don't worry about that. Make those changes. So, but the bottom line is, yes, make changes. Yes, you're allowed to make changes, as long as they don't have major logistic changes. If there are major logistic changes, then that's going to have to be discussed. Again, my only pushback, period, on your scripts, on your films, my only pushback is whether or not it is something that can be done in the time you were given. As long as the changes you make keep the film still logistically speaking on the same level, go for it. Go crazy. By all means, please do. Does that answer your question, Will?
Yep. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Please keep working on your scripts. Please. Again, I very, very, very firmly believe that it's a polishing process. And I will also say, and I know I'm doubling down, being redundant, but I'm gonna say it anyway. um, in my mind, your story is written 3 times. You write it the first time as a writer, that gives the first big bit of information. You write it a second time as the director, choosing to emphasize this actor's lines, choosing to push this back, making changes on set as you're shooting. Excuse me. And then finally, is written a third time when you do the edit. The mistake, I don't want to say mistake, but let's just say a choice I would not personally make. I know that a lot of directors, because they write it and direct it, what they end up showing in the edit is like word for word what they wrote in their first draft. And I'm not saying that's wrong. It's not, but it's not my preference. I legitimately, strongly, personally believe, just an opinion, not a requirement, not a law, not a rule, but I really do believe that your story should continue to evolve. And I hope that you take the opportunity in the edit to make changes, not massive changes, not crazy big changes, but just tighten this up a little bit. Maybe cut this one line. Maybe add a little bit more time and pacing here, kind of thing. Just give yourself the elbow room to continue to work on your story even after you've put it in the can. All I'm saying, just a suggestion, just an opinion. That's all I'm saying. All right. Please, does anyone else have any other specific questions? Quiet room. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. And if you have any questions, you're good. Listen, if you have any problems or concerns about your production, that's what your production manager is for. If you're having any technical problems specifically with the Excel sheet, I do want to be clear. This is a relatively new thing I'm trying. If you have any thoughts on how I can improve it or fix it or whatever, please. You're like, oh, you forgot to include all this extra information. I'm more than willing to add to the script. breakdown. I want it to be an evolving document. I'd like it to be super effective and helpful for everybody. So if you have things that it can be improved, by all means, please let me know.
Is
And
there a specific time of day that you're available?
no, I mean, okay. So my job is I tutor, and it varies. You know what I mean? I will say broadly speaking, I'm not available in the mornings. Um, I will say, if you're talking about like having a phone call conversation, it's
Yes.
generally better in the evenings.
Okay.
But I might be working that evening, so it just kind of depends. I more or less work every single day, 7 days a week,
Okay.
but I only work for a few hours every day. So, you know, this Sunday I might be free from 5 to 7. Next Sunday I'll be free from, it just depends. But yeah, listen, just reach out, just text me, you know.
Okay.
That's always a really, really, really good indication. And we can always set up a time to talk whenever you want.
Okay. Sounds good.
I'm pretty flexible. But yeah, no, I don't have a set schedule in that sense at all. Oh, John, since I got you got you here, real quick question.
Yeah.
You saw the studio. Is it going to meet your needs?
Yes. Absolutely.
Excellent. All right. Since I'm on this particular topic, is there anybody else here who has any particular concerns, maybe with their production manager or something, or any problems at all that I could address?
No, I just haven't heard from my production manager. That's about it.
Yours is Matthew Morris, right?
Yeah.
All right, all right. I'll talk to him. I'll see what's going on with that. Is there anybody else who's had problems
Cool.
talking to their production manager?
None for me. I talk with him on Discord.
Okay, all right, excellent. Christian, are you in fact then squared away and you're good?
I think I'm good. Yeah.
Okay.
I've actually I actually did make my own copy and put in some stuff.
Listen, script breakdown is not a lot. It's not like, okay, the document here is meant to help, but if it doesn't work for you, if it's not part of your process, that's fine. Let me just remind you that you have two jobs. You have to come up with a plan that makes sense for you so that you can put together your list and
Mhm.
everything. And you've got to make it's something that can be communicated with your department heads. How
Gotcha.
exactly you do that is completely up to you. Obviously, I'm a big fan of the script breakdown that I used, but you want to use a document from a previous wave, you want to do it in a completely different way, that's fine. Just let me remind everyone, I know I said it before, but I'll say it again. One of your primary jobs, absolutely one of the single most important jobs you have as a director, is communicating your plan, your vision, your dream with your department heads, with your actors, with your crew, with everybody. So
When
anything that you can do that will help that communication is a good thing. Let me give you an example. So storyboards are not required; they're optional. Um, but storyboards are a very effective way to communicate to your set designer, to your cinematographer, kind of thing. So if you want to be able to if you want to communicate in that particular way, then by all means, of course, please communicate in that specific way. Does anyone have any other questions?
well, Wes, I wanted to mention I also have Matthew, and I haven't really heard much from him either. I think it was one email, but I sent him another email and did not hear back. I'm not trying to, pile up on
No, no,
him.
no, 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 no. Just let me know. Let me know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Look, production managers are a relatively new thing. This is the first time we've been doing it, and
yeah.
it is absolutely possible that we need to shake some of the rust loose, figure out how this works. So yeah, let me talk to him. Let me figure out what's going on.
And
Yeah, please keep me in the loop on this. Again, I'm not looking to shame anybody. That's not what this is about, and I know you're not either.
yeah,
I just
definitely.
I need, I'm just trying to get this system to work as effectively and efficiently for everybody. And if it's, it's stalling here or stalling there, let me get out there and push if I need to. That's
Yeah,
all.
definitely. The other question is when do we choose our department heads? Like when would we choose like the DP? I think that's the one I'm most concerned or interested in.
Okay. So your production manager, going back to that, should have a list of all the volunteers for each of the department heads. So you pick up from that list and then reach out to that person. There'll be a list of there'll be names and emails. You reach out to that person and say, "Hey, I'd really love for you to be my cinematographer. Are you interested?" Kind of thing.
Okay.
So when that can be as soon as you have your script breakdown in place.
Okay.
So that could be like next week, kind of thing potentially.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember from like the beginning, like when we were talking about it, I wanted to shoot it earlier than later, like meaning like April, May, like as soon as possible. Yeah.
Listen, the only thing left that you have to do as part of the official wave, the only wave event left is the auditions, which is going to be at the end of this month. Once you've done auditions, then it's your timetable. If you can get together your cast and crew by the end of March and be shooting in the middle of April, go for it. Not a problem at all. So yeah, that's actually one of the reasons I want to do the script breakdown class before the auditions, and that's a difference from last year. Be specifically, explicitly, because I wanted to make it so that we from our perspective, we clear the deck so that you can shoot at a timetable that works best for you. So yeah, once you're past auditions, you can shoot literally anytime you want. And if you can shoot fast, please, 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 please. I got no problem with that whatsoever. On the other hand, I do want to say sorry for those of you who are like, you don't have to shoot into April. It's okay. Take your time. Just shoot it at a time and a pace that works best for you. I will say that the primary responsibility, as I see it, for Charm City is to help people know how to make films. So the idea being, if after this film you move to, I don't know, Colorado because you feel like it, that you can continue to make films. You know what I mean? So and that means being very self-organized,
I
self-started.
appreciate that. Thank you.
Of course, of course. Anyone else? Questions, thoughts, concerns? None? All right. I got no problem with that. So if you're good, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and stop recording.